Hi Libra, here's a general look at your solar chart for the whole of 2012. There's two parts. This is part one. Also, I've made another video, a third video which is going to fit with all of the signs. It's called The Shift 2012 because it goes into some of the aspects that are going to be going on over 2012, and also the Grand Cross that we're all going to be experiencing in this time of huge upheaval and change. So this reading for you is going to be set against that very, sometimes very disruptive and uncertain backdrop. Okay, so for you, astrologically speaking, there's an awful lot of planetary activity affecting your sign, as there was last year. But in your case, the good news is that Saturn leaves in October, so that's going to improve things probably quite a bit. And also Venus is going to be in Gemini for quite a while. In fact, Venus and Mars, which are two sort of fast-moving inner planets, are in extraordinarily long transits this year. And you are also going to get one of the eclipses in Gemini as well. And Gemini is in a stunningly good angle to your sun sign, Libra. So you've got some helpers coming in this year, which you didn't have last year. Now, Venus, your ruling planet, will be in a great angle to your sun when it is in Gemini, and it will be there from April the 4th to August the 8th, 2012. That could mean really you can profit from who you know, and connections centered around those, friendships or a love relationship connected with those at a distance, or somebody who is from a different culture, or who's just got a very, very different slant on things, somebody who's like a teacher and a mentor to you. So there could be very warm connections there between those two dates, April, August. But as a matter of fact, Jupiter is also coming into that area, so you really are going to have quite a lot more stacked in your favor, I would say, over 2012 than you did in compared with 2011. Legal matters as well could go pretty okay during this particular time frame, which is April to August. And in general, Venus here means that you could be attracted to more exotic or sort of, I don't know, alien type environments and people over this time and experiences. So this would be a time to get out of the normal rut and plunge yourself into something which is going to sort of clear the palette, as it were, and get out of the ordinary box and into something, for some of you this could equate to travel, traveling somewhere, and having new scenery around you. Now, Mars is going to stay in Virgo, the sign before yours, for a very long time in 2012. It started that transit in November 2011, so you already have got the feeling of what that means to you. And it's going to be in the same area until July 2012, so it is worth a mention. Everything about Mars is to do with energy. It's dynamic. It rules the adrenal glands, which is very connected to the kidneys, and actually Mars happens to be the ruler of your opposite sign, Aries. So your sign rules the kidneys, and Mars rules the adrenal glands. It's going to activate your area of higher service and introspection, and coming more from your heart in a compassionate or selfless kind of a way. So that can be about spiritual work, psychic work. It can be about others leaning on you more, but also at times over that period it could mean that you find yourself in a situation where you are the one that has to lean on others more. And now that can be because it's just the way the things are panning out, or it would be better if you chose that in advance of having to need this. What I mean by that is, with Mars here, you can run yourself ragged with stress or with doing for others in some way, and nipping that in the bud would be the smart thing to do. So go in for self-nurturing activities, whether it's doing whitewater rafting or taking quiet walks in the park, or whether it's reading a book or writing one, this would be the time, or in fact, having a massage regularly or doing yoga, and above all of them is to do whatever you can to still the mind, so meditation. So with Mars here, you're going to get lots of brownie points in heaven for helping other people out, because it would seem to be that you'll get more drawn into situations where you've got to do that. But on the other hand, to nip anything in the bud with yourself, kind of needing help, then get in there first and give yourself the help first before you absolutely, have sort of no more juice left in your battery. So this is going to be a period when energies tend to draw inwards. It's a more introspective phase. It's a phase for inner reflection, maybe, writing a journal, going in for psychoanalysis, looking at your past, reviewing things, kicking bad habits. That would be good. Also, really scrutinizing within yourself what habits or responses, knee-jerk responses you always do when somebody presses that button. And this is difficult work to do, but hey, this is where Mars is for quite a long time, so maybe you will be able to do what you can anyway with that. And sometimes it just kind of evens itself out if you get into some sort of self-nurturing activity, something where you can just let go. Another thing about Mars being here, of course, is that it can be about, finishing off karmic debts, drawing a line under them, and forgiving. Also somebody, others out there, maybe doing something to help you feel as though the account has been closed as well. It's called closure, isn't it? It's called moving on. So just avoid counterproductive behavior where you might shoot yourself in the foot with the same old conditioned reflexes rooted in the past. So that's my little lecture to you. I'll get off my soapbox. Now Jupiter. This is going to be another goodie for you. Until June the 12th, 2012, Jupiter still be in Taurus, which is actually in a potentially quite lucrative joint financial area for you, but you rely on somebody else's input, you see. They rely on you for something, and you rely on them for something. So however that's manifesting, it might just mean that somebody's picking up the tab a little bit more often for you, and that will help you with your kind of material situation. But in general, life can expand through the contribution of someone. So that might be with money, or that might be with some sort of associate or consultant or partner that you're doing something with. And can mean, the financial picture brightens, but it also might mean that you have other resources, equipment, space, venues, whatever it is, more easily available to you. That's the energy that is sitting there for you anyway to tap into. And there might be those who can help you in ways where you just begin to feel more emotionally stable, steady, and the two things could go hand in hand, the material foundations and the emotional foundations coming together, and it's like, whew, sort of feeling there. This is quite a long transit. Jupiter is there from the beginning of the year until June 12th, and the whole of your sign Libra is going to feel the Jupiter vibration over that period, and there are other ways it could work out as well. Then from the 12th of June to June 2013, you will have Jupiter in this stunning angle to your sun sign, really being a helper for you. Jupiter working happily out of his own house, the 9th house, which gives him even more power to come out sort of straight, not distorted. But of course, these vibrations are channeling through us all the time, and it's up to us how we use them. There should be more opportunities for you for connecting with foreign cultures, travel, wider communications across a wider stage, maybe some of you getting involved in academia or publishing, broadcasting, being the disseminator of information, but also some of you sitting at the feet of the guru, the teacher, the mentor yourself. It is such a long transit. It's just over a year long, and so it can be working in various ways, but this is the kind of gist of it. It's a great vibration for sort of stepping out onto a grander stage, expanding your territory in some way, but also for getting involved in the law, or shall we say the higher laws, which are, the spiritual law, which I'm sad to say is not much in common with the human law. And in general, Jupiter's good vibes will help. I mean, it's not going to be the fixer, Jim will fix it thing for you, but it'll help. The English ones will know what that means, but it would just help. Or rather, the British viewers will know what that means. Jim will fix it. But it'll kind of help you along. It'll give you a friendly hand along the way to get things sorted and better in those sorts of areas. And your awareness and knowledge base will certainly be growing during this expansive period. So, like I say, more opportunity to get into places that you prefer, travel, and not be so stuck in that box, that mental and physical box that we all get stuck in. Saturn, right? The Saturn will continue. The Saturn transit will continue in your sign until October the 6th, which is actually when the Sun is in your sign too. And then it leaves and it will go into Scorpio for 2.5 years. So you're coming to the last leg of this cycle. Now, later Librans haven't felt the real sort of pressure of Saturn yet, but it just means that you'll have to work harder at finishing off things, salvaging what you need from the past, not what you want, what you need, in an inward sense, an emotional sense, but also outwardly, externally, with things and stuff, and your clutter, the clutter that we all collect through life, but also bigger things like property, and patiently and persistently, getting what's due to you, also hopefully paying off what you can, and if you can't, face to face, then just do it from your heart, yourself, towards that person or that situation in your past, and it'll be done. And your awareness and knowledge base, your inner awareness and knowledge of yourself will be deepening as you very consistently sort of chip away at whatever it is that isn't good for you, or whatever it is that externally is just you need to cut your losses basically, and things can reach perhaps even a lucrative conclusion. Now this is the 29-year cycle, 29-year cycle of Saturn, in which you are redefining yourself, your world. Who am I in here, and how is that reflected with what I see around me out there? You're building. You're going to be rebuilding or building your world from the ground up, and that is inwardly and outwardly. And some of you who've been through this in the earlier part of Virgo will kind of know what I'm talking about. Oftentimes you don't see this until you look back over your shoulder, and then you realize what was really going on. Some of you could look back 28, 29 years if you're old enough, because then you were in the same cycle, and then you can look back at that time in your personal history and say, oh, okay, that's what happened, that's how it wasn't that bad, and that's what happened next. So in this Saturn cycle, you should be learning how to concentrate your energy into what you need to do for yourself, building this world from the ground up again, and ultimately that will lead to a happier, more solvent, hopefully, and settled version of yourself. So this is the time to build those new structures. You Librans born from around the 13th of October forwards will feel the influence of Saturn mostly, and all those of you born with approximately 29 to the N degree of Libra rising. And then from the 6th of October, Saturn goes into Scorpio for 2.5 years, and that means that then you begin to meet the challenge of dealing sensibly with the material side of life. Again, setting routines in place, getting to know what you need to do to improve things, but being very disciplined and consistent to do with the piggy bank and, incomings, outgoings, having to take a more serious attitude towards those sorts of things, and looking to maybe increase or improve quality lines of supply whether it's cash or vegetables. And gradually, you build here. You build here. You can be very successful, actually, with this Saturn transit, as long as you understand what it means. And what it means is you can't kind of wing it or trust to luck, as if you ever would in the financial area. But, you know, you've got to be thinking ahead, thinking like taking a real long view of things and build upon whatever assets you think. And sometimes these assets are right under our noses, like, you know, and what they've discovered now is, as an asset, is E. coli. You can make diesel from E. coli. I mean, who would have thought that E. coli would become everybody's friend? So, you see, it's you discovering what these things are and then working with them and working on them, and you could do quite well. Now, you Librans born up until the 2nd of October, or with up to 11 degrees of Libra rising, will feel this vibration mostly over 2012. And now Uranus. Uranus is in your opposite sign, and to hear more about Uranus, I'll see you in part 2, hopefully. Hi Libra, welcome back. This is part 2 of your overview for 2012. Now, the Uranian energy is about change, and it's working through your partnership area. That's your opposite sign, Aries, and it'll be there for over 7 years. So for you earlier Librans, particularly, you may have noticed over 2011, and in fact it even began in 2010, that this is a time of upheaval sometimes in your relationship area, but also it can manifest as change, and good change as well, because the idea behind the Uranian vibe is to free you up and get you to realize that who you really fit with, I suppose we could say. But sometimes you can feel ambushed, you know, sometimes it can be quite shocking because change comes suddenly and you feel as though you're having a bit of a rough ride. On the other hand, it can mean that, because Uranus brings reversal, so it can mean that some sort of better situation comes along, which is also shocking because you're sort of stunned, you know, you can't believe your luck sort of thing. So it can be working like that as well. But I have to say, because it's in an opposition aspect to your sun sign, you've got to work a little bit harder maybe, and to be that just a bit more flexible and understanding, and really put your feet in their shoes in certain situations, because the scenario can be shifting and changing, and you might have to get used to some quirks in somebody else as well. There's another way it can work, you know, because Uranus is about eccentricity. So some of you might be connecting with more unconventional type people as well during the time that it's zeroing in on your part of Libra. But this is part of your evolution and a significant growth process, okay? And it will stand you in good stead once the dust is settled. You Librans born 22nd of September or to the 2nd of October, or with up to 9 degrees of Libra rising, will be feeling the energy mostly in 2012, I think. Neptune is now coming out of an area to do with work and health. So it's very selfless energy in the area of work. It's the area of a sacrifice, but don't let it tip over into martyrdom and you take everything on your shoulders and you just overcommit, or you just feel sorry for people and really you take on too much and you become a martyr, you suffer. Because one of Neptune's things, well, is two sides to Neptune, you know, the saviour martyr card or coin. So just be careful about that. Having said that, this planet coming out of that area there means that some of you could be using your skills more in the area of selflessly, you know, to do with working for a good cause or charities. Or it might mean, it's very good news for the artists among you because it rules any use of the imagination. It's all very good news for spiritual psychic workers, healers in this area here. It's going to be here for probably around about 15. Well, it comes out in 2025, so quite a long time. And you could have more psychic experiences, also just give more from the heart, work more compassionately, that really does meet the criterion of Neptune. And you early Librans, first day or two with up to 4 degrees of Libra rising, say the first 3 days, or with up to 4 degrees of Libra rising, will feel the effect of Neptune mostly in 2012. It's also rules the seas, so it could be around voting of some kind, something like that. Photography, film, it rules lots of things. So in your work area, you might want to look that up, because it could give you a bright idea. Pluto is in Capricorn, will be there for many more years. It's affecting you Librans born 27th of September, the 4th of October, or with approximately 5 to 11 degrees of Libra rising. And it really is you, the chick in the egg, pecking your way out. This little chick in this egg, it doesn't know anything except this world. It defines itself in a way, if it could, use analysis in this world. This world is this egg. But when Pluto comes along, it just gives you the urge to peck, to get out of outlived scenarios. You maybe don't know why, but you just get I call it the tuggy string. You just got to follow it. Even though the brain is screaming at you other things, this isn't logical, you have to follow it. And of course this little chick, the egg falls apart eventually, and it's standing there in this huge new world. And it's like, I never knew all this was out here. And all this was out here is you. Parts of you that you haven't consciously been aware of and been able to inhabit. Of course, secretly, possibly this other world that you end up in is just a bigger egg, but getting out of one egg per Pluto transit is quite enough, I think. Anyway, so this is going to affect you at the roots of your life, changing things. There could be maybe some emotional experiences, with community, family members, and your place on the map could change, and you feel like taking a fresh direction, maybe relocating, maybe a different dynamic with family members, change right at the very roots of your life, and you finding a new place to be anchored inside. Now there's 2 solar eclipses this year, May the 20th and November the 13th. The first one at 0 degrees of Gemini, if it affects a point in your chart, means that change can occur by you getting outside of the box, maybe connecting with those abroad, travel, just connecting with very unfamiliar environments, and also getting into a new area of interest. It might be intellectual interest, it might be academia, it can be something that it just clears the palette. It's very, very different. And the second one in Scorpio will help trigger new beginnings related to your financial setup around property or other material resources which are useful. And so it's all kind of basic stuff. So if you can take one practical step to improve things to do with your lines of supply or finances or property on that day, then that sets your intention for the months as it pulses the energy out through the subsequent months. And the same goes for the one in Gemini as well, in its particular area of your chart. Some of you might be interested in knowing when Mercury goes retrograde. Mercury retrogrades 3 times a year for around 3 weeks each time. And in 2012, it retrogrades March the 12th to April the 4th, that's Pisces, Aries. July the 14th to August the 7th, that's Cancer, Leo. And November the 6th to November the 26th, that's Scorpio, Sagittarius. And you might like to listen to your moon sign or your rising sign. It might be good, these are going to stay on here all year, so it might be good to actually listen to them when the year is unfolding, in hindsight, and then you'll be able to see, maybe translate how which bits affected you, and let me know. And that's it for 2012. I wish you well, and I will see you the next time.